there to get a check on the situation. All this plus snowblower safety tips.
All coming up on Live at 5.
If you know anything about this game, you know that some things never change. But if you know about getting great pizza delivered, you know that nobody stands up to Pizza Hut's delivery. The difference is the pizza.
Pizza Hut Delivery serves the Twin Cities. And now, for a limited time, get up to 4 medium pizzas for $4 each when you buy one at the regular price.
Your Dodge dealer has a special factory shipment of Dakota 4x4 club cabs in stock now. With our powerful new Magnum V8, these trucks have more power, more towing, and more payload than any Ford, Chevy, or import compact 4x4 club cab. But hurry. With $750 cash back, our selection of Dakota club cabs won't last long. See your neighborhood Dodge dealer today. Rediscover American value.
You're watching KSTP, Channel 5, St. Paul, Minneapolis. And now, live from your 24-hour news channel, Mark Sapelsa, Val Holly Dennis, and meteorologist Dave Dahl. This is Eyewitness News, live at 5.
It's the biggest snowstorm ever in the state of Minnesota, and you don't have to look far to see its paralyzing effects. Cars, vans, even city buses are stuck and going absolutely nowhere. This is history in the making, a storm like none we've ever seen before.
I haven't ever been in a storm this bad, no, and I've been a driver for a little over, approximately 12 years. This is the worst I've seen.
It's the worst I've seen. I couldn't get out my door, but I did. I walked down to the bus. Now the bus can't go. It's the worst I've ever seen.
The worst I've ever seen. That's probably what a lot of folks are saying today. Good afternoon to you.
Certainly the worst I've ever seen. We're calling this the Halloween snowstorm of 91. Though it's November 1st, we think some years from now we'll probably be saying, remember all that snow we got on Halloween?
Who could forget? All over the Twin Cities, crews are bringing us stories today about this storm. But first, we want to go right in-house here to Dave Dahl. We understand that we have some major developments within the last half hour, as a matter of fact. David?
Yes, Mark and Val, this is a storm that just does not want to go away. As a matter of fact, it's getting more and more strength as it builds to our southeast. Heavy snow right now is being reported down around Winona up to about Red Wing. 2 inches per hour is falling, and this heavy area of snow is moving back to the west-northwest because, once again, the upper-level low that's been causing all the problems over the last 24 hours continues to our south, and that is going to lift gradually northward, and as it does, it's pulling all that moisture across east-central Minnesota. We could end up, well, right now we have just about 23 inches of snow so far for the storm. By the time this is all over sometime tomorrow afternoon, could end up with something over 30 inches. And, of course, that is the most snow ever. But because also, as the storm lifts, it's creating very strong winds. We have a blizzard warning that has just been issued by the National Weather Service covering the southern two-thirds of Minnesota, as well as west-central Wisconsin. That's for conditions, very poor driving conditions, but along with that, visibility is down to less than a mile in many cases, wind speeds of over 35 miles per hour, and now the snow is drier than it was last night. We had very wet, heavy snow. Now it's dried out some. That's going to cause a lot of blowing and drifting. So if you shoveled your driver or your walk, probably going to get all drifted up over the next 3 to 6 hours.
Is there an answer to the question why, or is this just a fluke, or what do you know?
Well, this is definitely a fluke for this time of the year, for this early in the season. Now, this type of storm could have happened any time during the winter season. However, to happen this early, it is definitely a fluke. It probably won't happen again in our lifetime.
30 inches, that's half the total average.
Yes.
We'll catch up with you later, Dave.
Okay,
Thanks. There have been 6 weather-related fatalities here in
Considering on what the roads are like out there right now. He's in St. Paul. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, you don't have to go very far to find people caught off guard by this winter snowstorm. Look at this snowbird here. This person could be digging out for days when, in fact, they only have about 4 hours to dig out before the city comes in and tows this car away. We'll talk more about emergency rules a little bit later, but first, let's take a look at traffic around the Twin Cities.
When we caught up with Linda Oakenbyron, she wasn't having much fun. She'd been stuck for an hour, and she wasn't making much progress. Well, we'll check back with her a little later. In the meantime, we'll take you to the Department of Transportation's Management Center in Minneapolis for the big picture of the storm. Here, they can see traffic all over the metro from dozens of cameras positioned along the highway. On a day when most businesses are closed, the volume of traffic isn't a problem. It's drivers taking it too fast. Just look at this four-wheel drive pickup on the left side of the screen. Fortunately, the driver got out of there before getting hit. Snowplow drivers have been working since noon yesterday, and they still haven't even gotten to the side streets yet. Even veteran drivers like Bill Secor are surprised by all the snow.
This is the worst one I've been in.
So how's Linda doing? Well, she still looks a little busy. We'll talk to her later. How about traffic downtown? The streets are plowed, but it's pretty slick. Outside Minneapolis City Hall, we only had to hang around a couple minutes to record these scenes. Hey, wait a minute. Isn't that Linda making snow angels?
I love winter.
Except for what?
Except for cars.
I'll show you one car that's going to have some problems here. Let's do a little public service, and we could zoom in. This is the Illinois license plate, 923834. Whoever you are, you visitor to this state, you have about 4 hours to move this car. It's going to get towed away.
And that gray look is you, Jeff. Really you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Come in and thaw out.
That's right. Now for those two little words that are undoubtedly hateful words to hear. Snow emergency. No real surprise, though, considering all the snow we've gotten. Stan Miller is at our snow information desk.
Twin cities are being held on the ground in other cities, and the airlines say people who want to meet a plane tonight definitely call first.
They couldn't even stop. One stranded bus rider talked with our Dave Taylor.
Trying to get out of the bus on the way home.
And what happened?
He didn't stop.
Why not?
It's too full.
We checked with MTC and found that buses are running up to an hour behind, but some are going nowhere.
Mark, it's still a bit slow out here at Minneapolis-St. Paul Airport, but we should admit things are getting just a little bit better, not much. Instead of flights being 2 hours behind schedule, they're moving up. It's now about an hour behind schedule, mostly for de-icing, and that is a lot better than it was this morning. When you see these oversized jets creeping at a snail's pace here at the Minneapolis-St. Paul Airport, you know something's wrong. Still, the highway people here managed to keep at least one runway open at all times. Around 7 this morning, well over half the flights going in and out were canceled. That meant long lines, but passengers weren't very upset about it. A lot of them told us they were amazed planes were even running, considering some of the passengers barely made it themselves.
We got stuck trying to get out of a driveway. It took us about 2 hours to get out of there onto Highway 10, and
now even later.
And now we've missed our 11:40 flight to Portland, so we're going to see if we can catch one through Seattle and catch a connecting flight to Portland.
Right after that interview, he was on his way to Portland, and we should say the reason it's kind of quiet out here, a lot of people just aren't even making it to the airport, so that's actually helping officials deal with all of the troubles here.
All right. Thank you, Lou.
Next, we'll tell you about the damage the snow is causing in addition to these delays we're talking about.
Some people who may have been delayed today were your mail carriers, but as the saying goes, neither rain nor sleet nor dark of night, I think it's something like that, will keep them from their appointed rounds. We found this postal carrier in Minneapolis. Postal workers tell us they're delivering as much mail as possible today.
All day long. It's worsening out there, though. A high of 31 just after midnight last night, and our current reading, 27, is the low for the day. We still have snow and blowing snow with a blizzard warning in effect. We're going to drop down to 15 degrees. The winds will continue to increase. Don't venture forth unless you absolutely have to. Pregnancies, I guess, deliveries, things like that. Back to you guys.
All right, Mike, thank you. Now, our crews have been out all day finding pictures of people just trying
Gassing up. The Delano pumps getting around Lake Calhoun on snowshoes, and Norman Varberg blowing snow in St. Louis Park.
In fact, this is the worst in my life that I've ever seen.
As if firefighters don't have enough on their hands when battling a fire, crews in Ham Lake had to deal with a blizzard today.
Around noon, at least 4 fire stations were called to the Lunskey's Lumberyard. Fire crews arrived as fast as the roads outside would allow, but as KARE 11's Asha Blake reports, the blinding snow was a real hassle.
The burning Lunskey Lumberyard didn't have a chance in this blizzard.
We were falling down a lot, just trying to pull holes and stuff like that, so that really got in the way and slowed us down.
Wind and snow flurries whipped the flames through one storage shed and the main office. A ruptured gas line near the office is believed to be the cause of the disaster.
All this dry wood in the lumberyard, and like I said, with the gas and the wind, that there just wasn't enough moisture in the snow to do any firefighting.
The Lonsky family couldn't do much else except watch their family business melt to the frozen ground and go up in smoke. The losses are still being totaled.
Dollars and cents wise, I don't know how much, 350 to 500,000. Building and stuff. We lost 3 kittens in there too.
It's nasty, real nasty. Firemen have done a real good job.
That city's also been hit with close to a foot of snow. Some roads are clear and the plows are out, but as you can see, it doesn't do some people any good. It just means they're starting all over again. And if you can find it, grab a couple of friends to help dig you out of this mess. And it's not snow, but an ice storm causing problems in Des Moines, Iowa. Look at the icicles forming on the telephone wires here. Several power lines are down, and with the weather not letting up, that could just be the beginning of trouble right here.
Around America, we're just getting word of a deadly shooting spree on the campus of the University of Iowa. That's in Iowa City. A gunman opened...
We got extra 91s. There are hundreds in stock right now. Now's a great time to get a great deal? That's a fact. Now is a great time at your Viking Land GMC truck dealer.
You'd think a country that could put a guy on the moon and a sushi bar on every corner could make a great non-alcoholic brew. Coors did it. Now even a herd cutter or a word cutter can enjoy a Coors cutter. Everything about the taste says beer, but the label, that says brew. Lawyers, go figure. So whether you're a butter cutter or a clutter cutter, enjoy the clean-cut taste of a Coors cutter. Nothing cuts it like a cutter.
After nearly 200 years, we've learned never to leave our customers in the dark. Cheers. Profit from the experience.
Over 3 days in August, one world ended, and a new one began.
I don't think that going back is a possibility.
Now, Pat Miles takes you inside the new Russia to meet those who fought for freedom.
I feel that some people realize themselves what kind of people are they during those 3 nights.
Share their struggle and hopes for the future. After the Coup, a Pat Miles special, Saturday at 9 on KARE 11.
Well, they haven't been too busy in the weather.
No, you just see them lounging in there, too?
Just a couple of things going on.
Keeping in there, Ken Barlow's over at Storm Track 11 right now for Paul Douglas, who will join us at 10 o'clock tonight.
Yes, he'll be in.
You and Ellen have been quite busy.
We've been the tag team of the day. Yeah, we've had full team coverage here. We've been poring over all the charts and things, and Ellen will tell you something in just a few minutes about what we expect overnight. What I'm going to tell you is what's happening right now. Let's take a look at the warnings across the Minnesota area, also into Wisconsin now. If you plan on traveling anywhere, please reconsider those plans. Do it tomorrow, preferably tomorrow afternoon when things begin to wind down a little bit. The heavy snow will continue tonight. As we told you a while ago, there is a blizzard warning in effect for most of Minnesota, including the Twin Cities metro area. We've been calling it a blizzard all day, and finally the Weather Service, too, is calling it a blizzard, so we can say that. A winter storm warning is in effect down toward Rochester. They've had an ice storm there. They are expecting quite a bit of snow, too, up to 4 inches, in fact. This is what has happened so far. Look at the middle, the bullseye, right over the Twin Cities. Last night, if somebody came on and said 20 to 25 inches of snow, you'd think they were nuts. Well, it's actually on the ground. We have 2 feet of snow officially at the airport, 24 inches. And we could see more. And to tell us much more about what we can expect over the next several hours and on through the upcoming weekend, here is Ellen Farrar. Ellen?
Thanks a lot, Ken. Yes, those snowfall totals could approach over 3 feet over northern parts of the Arrowhead, especially the higher elevations by tomorrow. That's where the snow is expected to continue throughout most of the day. But we're looking at the center of the storm right now, moving into parts of west central Wisconsin. You can see the comma shape that the clouds have been taking, very indicative of a very strong low-pressure system. And this is a slow mover as well. So we'll stay in the snow not only tonight, but throughout most of the day tomorrow. Here's a look at live Doppler radar, and we're picking up more in the way of moisture as far as snowfall over most of Minnesota. Into western Wisconsin, still some sleet and rain.
He tracked down a few kids who aren't complaining about all the snow.
You must stop.
Snow.
Jean Nagel's been driving a plow for 5 years. She says the severity of the storm kept drivers off the roads and out of her way.
It kept a lot of people off the road, and that's one of the things that impedes our progress is a lot of traffic. So it made it a lot easier for us.
A lot of us thought the plows could handle any amount of snow. That's not true. Drivers tell us even they get stuck sometimes and need help getting out of those messes. Mike Fairborn is standing by in the Storm Center to tell us more about this thing that continues to develop. How big could this get, Mike?
Well, total snowfall from this storm could end up to anywhere between 15 and 30 inches of snowfall. That's about as big as they get any place, especially over the time period we've been talking about. By the way, Sylvia, I could have used your report yesterday, not today. Anyway, our radar is showing that we still have a large area of snow falling over the metro area, areas of heavier snow just down to our south and to our east that is starting to kind of wrap back around into the Twin Cities. Our Doppler's been picking up snowfall that otherwise may be missed because of the sensitivity of it, but it certainly is indicating that things are not letting up out there. That's the main thing, and snow is going to continue, and additional accumulations overnight, anywhere between 3 and 6 inches of snow around the metro area. So additional snow is on the way, and that's not the worst part of it. The winds are picking up as well. Advisories have now been upgraded to blizzard conditions throughout all of central Minnesota, including the Twin Cities area extending out to the southwest. That means sustained winds of 35 miles an hour or greater, causing almost whiteout conditions through this entire region. Obviously, don't travel unless you absolutely have to. And you can see the mess of warnings surrounding us. Snow and blowing snow, wind chill advisories. Wind chill will play a significant factor as we go on into the night. But here's what we're talking about for snow potential through this entire region here, anywhere between 20 and 30 inches of snow. It's what we're going to end up with from this storm system with the additional up to 6 inches that we are expecting. The temperatures outside right now are still hovering in the upper 20s to just above freezing to the east of us. Just got a phone call from someone over in Wisconsin, said they're getting thunder snow over there. Not completely uncommon, but that's all out ahead of where the warm air is. And of course, we are certainly into the cold air enough that we don't have to worry about that. We don't have to worry about the freezing rain that fell down to the south. Just snow continuing with temperatures continuing to drop. Wind chills out in the western part of the Dakotas right now, 40 degrees below zero and colder. And wind chills will begin to play a more significant part into our area as we get on into the nighttime hours. The low pressure area is over Wisconsin, racing off to the northeast, but the wraparound around that low is going to keep the snow going overnight with some flurries throughout the day tomorrow and the winds. That's the big problem. Here's what the forecast looks like for us. Right now outside, snow and 27. Tonight, snow and blowing snow, a blizzard warning in effect. 15 degrees for a low. Tomorrow, cloudy, windy, cold, and flurries, a high of 20. There will be some warnings probably extended on into tomorrow morning before this thing finally all begins to settle down. It'll be a while yet.
All right, Mike, as we reported today, this storm has already caused 3 people to die.
And that's the most serious impact. But weather like this can take a lesser toll on everyone. If you are feeling a little stressed or a little depressed, you're not alone. Bill Hudson has some tips to help protect both your heart and your mind.
I don't think I do. Shoveling snow is always hard. Even worse, though, when it's snow like today. Just ask Jim Owens.
Yeah.
He's been shoveling for 3 hours.
It's heavy because we had rain mixed up with last night, and it's heavy.
That heavy snow is just one reason why shoveling can strain your heart. Another reason is because when you shovel, your heart has to pump large amounts of blood to your arms, far harder than pumping to your legs. Finally, since you're in the cold, your heart's always working overtime to keep you warm. For those reasons, emergency room experts say people with heart disease should stay inside. So should another group.
Patients who have recently had surgery, especially abdominal surgery, because, again, the straining that's required to move this heavy, wet snow might provoke problems with their abdominal incisions.
Today's snow may also be producing another stress, not on your body, but on your psyche. You're suddenly coping with the gray skies, the snow, and something else. This weekend, the clocks were set back and we lost an hour of daylight. If it's all got you fighting the winter blues, experts have this advice.
Well, the general advice is to try to get good nutrition and adequate exercise. And for family members of depressed people, it's important to encourage them to maintain some activity and not withdraw completely.
For your area and post them by each phone. This series is dedicated to all the men and women who know what to do in an emergency and are there when we need them most. I'm William Shatner. Join us again next week for more true stories on Rescue 911.
Next Friday, true stories of perfect people committing perfect crimes. And coming up, Carol's back. That's right, the premiere of the Carol Burnett Show with special guests Martin Short and B.B. King. Next on CBS.
Good evening. I'm Colleen Needles in the Channel 4 newsroom with an update on the storm. This is a view we're going to show you. We hope very few of you have seen tonight. Streets in the Twin Cities almost deserted, and you are advised to stay home tonight unless you absolutely have to go out. This was among the last buses running tonight. The MTC will stop service in just a few minutes at 8 o'clock. And at the Twin Cities Airport tonight, Northwest Airlines has canceled all incoming flights. Only a few outbound flights have taken off from the Twin Cities tonight. Mike Fairborn is in our storm center with an update. Mike?
Well, Colleen, we are now at 25.6 inches of snowfall. That is a all-time snow event record for us here in the Twin Cities, that's for sure. Other than that, the situation really has not changed very much. We take a look at the live radar right now. You can see that we still have a big blob of green over us. It seems to be shifting a little bit more to the northeast now, and maybe the snow will begin to taper off and end, especially out there in the western suburbs. This line out here is getting closer and closer. It used to be extending way out here to the west. The only thing is it's still blowing and drifting out there. Out in Windham, 63-mile-an-hour winds just an hour ago, and so our winds are going to stay with us. We are in a blizzard warning. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Mike. And in about a half hour, we're going to be receiving some pictures from Albert Lee, Minnesota, which has been especially hard hit by the storm. And we'll have more on that during our next update just before 9 o'clock. Please join us then.